All right, let's move on to reflection two. What is required in reflection two? So reflection two requires that you, let's read together. In this part of the reflection, you will examine the content of the artifacts, how they are presented, and their effect, impact on readers, viewers, listeners for literary pieces. So that's the general idea, all right? So that's reflection two. So you want to look at uh, two things, technique and effectiveness, all right? Those are the main two things you're looking at, the technique and the effectiveness of the techniques employed by the writer or writers. Okay, so for literary pieces, look at the text. So you can look at these things. If it look at the text to determine if it is a persuasive or argumentative expository piece, or if it's a narrative piece. Also look at the language, whether it's formal or informal. Did they use, for example, standard American English? Did they use standard Jamaican English or standard Trinidadian English or standard um, Guyanese English, whichever English? What about the diction? What about the use of words? Are the words related to the topic? So if you are talking about, let's use another topic. Let's say you're talking about um, earthquake, and you're looking at something related to earthquake, then you should see words related. The vocabulary must be fitting. So you should see words such as aftershock, Richter scale, maybe you might see tsunami, um, and words related in that field. All right. You're going to also look at the literary devices, of course, simile, metaphors, onomatopoeia, pun, assonance, alliteration. How were these literary devices employed, and what is the effect of, of the literary devices being employed? How did it affect the readers? All right. You can also examine text features like subheading. Did they bold words? Why did they bold or italize a few words? Why did they underline a few words? What is importance or relevance? Or how will it impact the comprehension or the understanding to the readers in reading this text? So this is for a literary or written piece. Let us quickly look at a few other how you'd analyze a few other artifacts. The videos, you look at color scheme or the use of black and white, colors, one color. What about the size of characters, words, which is come back to diction, the pictures or the objects, the tone, what is the tone of the presenter, what is the mood, are they using related language, are they using simple language, are they using complex language, are they explaining within the video, are they defining words within the video, how are they making the content within the video easier to understand? Let's look at audio. Audio, you will look at the tone, if it's a um, different tone, you got tone more than once. You have the mood. All right, so what kind of mood? Is a sad mood? Is a reflective mood? Is it that of indifference? What about the tempo? Now remember, now you might not look at all of these, but you can look at least three out of these to help you analyze at least three. I would say, try and do at least five, but if you're struggling, try and get at least three. The pitch, are they talking high? Are they talking low? Are they whispering? What is the effect of the whispering? What is the effect of the high pitch or the low pitch? Are they going fast? Are they going slow or a moderate pace? What about the diction? Is it formal? Is the language formal? Is it informal? Are they, like I said, explaining key terms or defining key terms? Is it a persuasive piece? Is it an argumentative piece? Is it a narrative piece? So all of that you're going to look at in the analysis of the artifacts. And remember, technique and what is the effectiveness of that technique or techniques. All right, so for poster, ad, or pamphlet, you want to look at the color scheme, the arrangement of the text, the picture, the images, the words, definition of words, and same, you add the same, you might just import some of the same techniques to poster. So you're not limited. I'm just giving um, a quick snapshot of what is required. All right, you might have graph, pie charts. How would you look at that? You want to look at the numbers, why they chose this type of pie chart to represent information, the use of numbers, the words, the keys, all of that. How does these artifacts help the reader to understand the information, technique, and effectiveness? Sample SBA. Okay, reflection two. So the language used in the poem is a combination of Jamaican Creole and standard Jamaican English. For example, yellow yam for dinner and I grew up poor, respectively. The writer's tone is proud, and this creates a mood for the reader that is encouraging and optimistic. So technique effect, let's continue. This is also shown by her repeating I grew up poor. A number of exclamation marks are used throughout the poem to express the strong positive emotion the speaker feels towards growing up poor because it has made her a better person. The poet also uses a metaphor in the poem as she compares poverty to a disease. The image created by this is very vivid, which means clear, and helps the reader to better understand the effects of poverty. So yes, they're explaining the techniques, and what makes this a plus is that they're giving at least one example, or you can give more than one, but at least one example of a technique you're referring to. Okay. Two or three examples can be good, but one can suffice. All right. Meanwhile, the language used in the song by Morgan Heritage was mostly Jamaican Creole. For instance, in the light, enough people come to Jamaica and meet they at town one day. The language used is not suitable for the general audience because not many persons understand Jamaican Creole. The song has a melancholic tone as it appeals to my sense of feelings. Technique effect. What's the effect on the readers? All right. The song is very emotional and uses emotive language. The words used in the song helps to create a hopeless feeling for the reader. This can be felt in the lines, same time me lift me head to the sky and teardrop fall from my eye. All right. And then lastly, the language used in the news report by the reporters is formal and is in standard Jamaican English. This is suitable for the general audience as it is combine, easier to understand as export as an expository document. The data is informative and statistics were used to support what the reporters have to say about poverty in Jamaica, for example. 10% living in extreme poverty. The reporters use the technique of comparison as she shares the information about poverty in 2014 and 2016. Because of this, the presenter uses words that show contrast, such as however. She also uses comparative forms of adjectives such as poor. The video also shares the story of one family, and this is a good form of supporting evidence because it helps to back up the points expressed about the effects of poverty in Jamaica. And of course, guys, you're realizing there are one or two errors in there, but that's okay. We're not expecting you uh, a perfecto, a perfect at this level. Sufficient quality of analysis is good, and that's what we're looking for. Of course, with good grammar as well. Let's